Alright guys, so I wanted to address some of the comments. I do read them all, every single one of them. So if you got any ideas, shoot them because I'm going to read it. Matter of fact, here's some of them. For the guys that wanted to know where the steering gear or the steering box came from, this lovely gem right here. I'm not really 100% sure. I know a lot of the parts that I got here came off a really old rear engine mower. So I'm going to guess that's where it came from. So for that Tone Guy number 2 and Larry 04456, that's the best I can do for you. For T-Man, you want to know about the size of the wheels? They're 15s. I think they're going to go in the pile. Maybe at some point in time we'll find a use for them, but they're definitely going in the pile for now. Thanks for the guys that have commented on the detail. I try to put as much in there as I can. I mean, obviously there's parts that I miss. In this video you'll see that I skipped a whole lot of the manufacturing, but you'll get the point. We are going to do a lot of the same things that Fearless Front did to his Murray mower, like locking the rear end, stuff like that. I mean, I'm obviously going to have to do that. These things aren't any good until you lock the rear end. Outdoor Life 123. You asked about the fenders. I told you in the very first video on Fearless Front's channel, we're going to be chopping this. The seat ain't going in its stock location. It's going to be a lot lower. You're going to have to wait to see that, so stay tuned. Off-roading Chevy 1 wrote, "Put a winch on the Mud King." That's a really good idea. I think we're going to have a winch on this. But everybody puts an electric winch on them. I don't want to be like everybody else. So we're here at the Mud and Madness garage here of Fearless Front. So got him here. As you can see, he's hard at work, grinding away. I gotta tell you, I don't really envy him too much. You have no idea. I've been here for a couple hours just trying to figure out how to start this video, and he's been grinding the whole time.
I'm not even halfway done.
So
appreciate it.
Yeah, you gotta appreciate the hard work he's doing, and he's doing a wicked good job. So, be ready for the next video in line. Seeing this thing come together, I'm pretty excited. I had a gentleman leave a comment on my last page about tire selection. Painless VW, and he recommended using some tires off a snowblower, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity to bring Fearless in here and explain really the reason why we're using the rear tires beyond the fact that it gives you some lift. So I think what I'm going to do is turn it over to you, the expert, the mad scientist or mud scientist.
Yeah. Thanks.
And explain why you put the bigger tires on the front of your mower.
Well, really, initially, it came down to, it was more of a convenience thing because I got the rear tires for the Murray, and basically everything on the Murray just was kind of me just sort of messing around. I didn't really have a direction, but the way it worked out like Jacob said, you know, outside of just achieving a little bit of lift, is now you've got a tire on the front that is a lot wider. My tires, I believe, are like 8.5 inches. So, I mean, that gives you a lot more flotation over the mud. And when you're building a mudding tractor like Jacob or like I have, like street legal carts, or like I have, basically you got to make a decision. Are you going to make something that's going to be a slow, like a butter churner, like it's going to, you know, be slow, heavy, tall, skinny tires that sink down to the bottom and dig through the hard bottom of the mud, if there is a hard bottom of the mud? Or are you going to make something that's basically fast, like those mud trucks you see all the videos on with basically paddle tires, and they just more or less skip across the top? Basically, with my build, the Murray, I decided to go the direction of I wanted it lightweight, I wanted it quick, and I wanted it to kind of float across the top of the mud because, you know, I really don't have a lot of power in it, and, you know, it's a weak transaxle. So if you put big tires on that and dig them down in the mud and get them bound up in the mud, something's going to give, and it's probably going to be your transaxle. I've been running this thing for 2.5 years the way you see it, and it's been fine. So really, the big front tires, I mean, the big points are, the front tires they'll give you more lift, obviously. They're better flotation in the mud. The steering, it doesn't quite bump steer as much when you hit bumps and, you know, run things over. It smooths the ride out tremendously, and anyone that drives a stock lawnmower at fast speeds knows what I'm talking about. Those little tiny friggin' donut tires, when they hit a bump, you know, that's like this, their tire's going to sink down into the bump and ride back out, whereas something big is going to skip right over the top of it. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense.
Cool. So, you know, Painless VW, I think that will probably answer your question and bring some understanding to why we're not going to be using any tires that skinny. They definitely have the knobs, but like Fearless explained, I mean, we're not building machines that are trying to dig deep and pull their way out of it. We want to stay on top of what we're on. So, thanks for stopping what you're doing and you know, giving us some insight.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
Appreciate the ingenuity in the jack stand. It's one jack stand that will probably never bend. What is it, like 1/4 inch angle?
Yeah, 3/16.
It's pretty
2x2. Yep. So I got the front end all torn apart. Right. Took the cotter pin out of the connecting arm. Okay. So now that's disconnected. Right. I've already taken the bolt out of the pulley, as you've seen. Now what you've got to do is you've got to push this over so that you can get it enough space and pull the pulley off.
So what's going on here there, Jake?
So what we had happen here is we had a bolt break right here. Thanks to steel bolts in an aluminum block. You don't mix metals. You don't do that. It's bad. This is what happens. So now we're going to try to save our ass. Okay, so we had some issues with a bolt. So you didn't get to see the other 3 come out, but they came out way too easy. Alright? So I've been working for the past too freaking long on one bolt. And what I ended up having to do was drill 1,000,000 holes all the way around the bolt to get the bolt out. Unfortunately, it did this. So, it's not unusable. It's not exactly the manner that I'd like it to look, but it's out. Alright, so what's happened so far, alright, is we've messed with that bolt. We pulled the motor off. Alright? You saw all of that. Now, what I've done is I flipped it over, as you can see, and I went and did a little shopping and got some angle iron and some more angle iron and some flat stock and that piece of pipe. That piece of pipe is going to be really cool when you see what it's being used for. But that's what we're doing. So what we're going to do is this press frame here. So what we're going to do is we're going to channel it. I'm going to cut a piece of angle iron to go right along that edge. And I'm going to turn this into a tube frame. But as you can see, it's curved. So what I've done right here is drawn that curve. And now I'm going to cut it off. So we got it all cut out and set in here. You can see where I've cut the radiuses, right? And if you look closely, you'll see that this is not in there straight. It actually goes from sitting on the frame here up. See this? That way it'll box it in. Take the twist out of it. Alright. So you can see it's all welded in there now. Weld on the ends, welds in the middle, and a weld on the other end. That ought to stiffen this up significantly. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and we'll get back to you. Alright, so now you can see there's the first one, and there's the second one. All welded in there. Right? Now with it up like this, you can see this isn't flat. Matter of fact, it's at quite the angle. Hopefully, doing that will stop this frame from being able to twist as much. Oh, I think we're going to be done for today. So, you know, I got to thank Fearless Front for allowing me to be here and do this. And I know I didn't get to the steering or really anything I said I was going to do in the last video. Mainly because we had the issue with the bolt and the motor, and that took hours to figure out. So, I guess this is a learning curve for me as much as it's going to be for you folks. Next video is going to be beefing up the front end, and the video after that's definitely going to be the rear end. So we'll have Fearless Front back in the videos here real soon, because this rear end's a little bit different than his. So rate it up if you like it, rate it down if you don't. I'll see you next time.